Yo, what's up, guys? This is Hoops and Comics. In this video, I'll be talking about the future of monster movies. Universal had a set of monster movies that were interconnected in the 50s, I think 40s, 50s, or 60s or something when they started. Um, Later on, you had the Predator films. Then you had some like years later, you had the '03 Hulk film. You had the 2005 King Kong film. Yeah, 2005 King Kong film. You had in '08. You had the Incredible Hulk film. In 2014, you had Dracula Untold. In 2018, you had the first installment for the Venom franchise. 2021 was the next one. And 2024 was the third installment. Yeah. And then this year, there's going to be a Clayface film that will be out in October, I think. And I will count films like Skull Island that came out in 2017. What else? Pacific Rim, the first one and the second one. And I will count. Um, I guess you can kind of count some of the Jurassic Park films, but so the future of monster movies was, yeah, monster movies, and that's the main point. Um, I think Incredible Hulk. One reason why people I think didn't, so a lot of people I guess didn't like the film was because Bruce would transform to the Hulk or become. Let me say become the Hulk. Yeah, become the Hulk, but I can't explain it. He wasn't. He only became the Hulk like three times in the film. And whereas I think the '03 Hulk film, there were more, not just more, he didn't become the Hulk, or there were more transformations in that film. There were more action sequences, and the Hulk was actually like uh, running through buildings, throwing cars. Whereas, like, you had the university battle, it was going against specifically uh, General Ross and his forces, and then against Abomination. And so I think, and even in terms of the Hulk, that character, that that character to me in Incredible Hulk '08, I think was more humanoid than the '03 Hulk. That Hulk was more like Shrek um or more traditional monster movies, that and not horror movies or scary movies, monster movies. Like similar to Doomsday and Batman versus Superman, where he was an actual, like, almost like an alien or a creature. Whereas Incredible Hulk, that movie was more about Bruce Banner. Whereas, and then when he became the Hulk or transformed, he said transformed to the Hulk, it, like I said, he still looked more like a humanoid compared to other iterations. And I think that's why, yeah, because even in the 2012 film, that, uh, well, never mind, it's still the same. It's still the same Hulk, but that Hulk looked more like the Hulk in 2012 was more of like a cartoonish Hulk, whereas in 2008 I think they tried to ground the film in a hyper fictional quote unquote reality. And I also think that film was another one of those films that I guess was influenced by The Dark Knight and Batman Begins. And so that probably played a part. But also, I think that um, what's it called? I think I think that yeah, that's why the film wasn't didn't necessarily make as much money as people thought at the box office, and why a lot of people didn't like the film was because it was before its time to somewhat. Yeah, it was ahead of its time. And so I think that uh, that film was like the first to possibly a newer iteration of monster films. Definitely action monster films, which most are. Um, and I think also the Mummy 2017 was similar because when they showed Mr. Hyde in the film, when he appeared in the film, he when he became Mr. Hyde, the character became Mr. Hyde. Um, he still looked human, but he I guess he got taller and his skin changed, his skin color changed, and so I think that the those iterations of those characters are going to be the future of monster movies, and I think you're gonna have a few categories of monster movies. So you're still gonna have the Incredible Hulk still is in one of the this category that I'm about to say somewhat, but I think you're gonna have monster films like Venom. And it doesn't matter which film from the trilogy. You're gonna have films like the upcoming Clayface, and I think Venom kept those traditional monster movies uh, in in the in modern times, and Clayface is gonna keep those traditional action monster films in modern times. And I think you're gonna have movies like that, but then you're gonna have more monster films that are just creature films, like Pacific Rim. Those are not humanoid creatures; those are just monsters from a different dimension. Jurassic Park. Those are just creatures from basically a pre-existing timeline or time. Um, where else? The MonsterVerse, like uh, this iteration of King Kong, that's a creature, and not a humanoid creature. Um, what else? Uh, I think, yeah, that those are gonna be the categories. But I think you're gonna see more of, like I said, with Incredible Hulk and the Mummy, because I think the reason why is because I think when Incredible Hulk came out, that was right after the golden era of superhero movies. So like you had, I guess you could somewhat count the original Blade movie. You then you had the 2002 Spider-Man movie, then the sequel, and then the third film that came out in 2007. You had the two Fantastic Four movies, um, '05 and '07. You had what else? You had um, you had the original uh, Punisher film, the original Punisher film in 2003. You had the Ghost Rider film that was out in I think '07 or something. Yeah, 2006 or 2007. Then you had I'm gonna put Superman Returns that was in theaters in 2006 in this category, and then you had I'm gonna put Batman Begins in that category because yeah, that film was quote unquote grounded, but it still fit that era of superhero movies in my opinion. And what else? The '03 Hulk movie, the Daredevil film from '03, stuff like that, or movies like that, I'll say. And so, yeah, you had those, but I think Incredible Hulk was influenced by The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight was very different from Batman Begins. I think it got more serious. I think it got more the I guess the tone of the film was very different from the first movie. Or not the tone, but just the I guess what they when you watch the movie, what the audience how the audience will react. Like, is this a regular superhero film or is this something like somebody's trying to create a different version of this character? And so I think Incredible Hulk kind of wasn't. I don't. I think it was influenced by The Dark Knight, but it also was trying to be the second installment of a cinematic universe. And so I think that is the future of monster films to me. Is you're gonna have films that have these, I guess, monster characters, but it's gonna be within about something else. Like, or if it is, it's gonna be more focused on. It's gonna focus on when the character is a regular human, either as much as when they transform it, either as either similar to when they become a monster, or it's gonna focus on when that character's human more. And so I think I think because we're in an era where because of how scripts are being, I guess, are being written and certain stories are being told, I think, and there hasn't been like a monster like you had Red Hulk in the Captain America 4 movie, but he was more of a traditional monster, and so I think you're gonna see more monster characters become more human, and I think that's the future of it. And I think that'll probably it'll be better for some of those characters in monster films. And the reason why I say that is because I think monster films were cartoony at first, definitely in the 2000s and the but as time went on, I think like I said, certain films such as the Venom movies and Clayface, they'll keep that up. But I think you're gonna see more like monsters, but they're still more human. And what's the word I'm looking for? It's not gonna be so focused on destroying buildings and throwing cars at everybody and people running away from uh, these creatures. Yeah, these creatures. And so I think I definitely think that that's the future of those movies. And I also think that you know it's it's going to be different, and of course, I think Universal is rebooting. I think there's a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen reboot, so we'll see what happens with the characters such as Mr. Hyde. I think there is going to be, and even Dracula Untold. I think that character was more humanoid, where because even in Van Helsing, Dracula, yeah, he was humanoid, but you know, he looked more like a monster humanoid than in Dracula Untold when he became Dracula. And so, yep, that's it, guys, for this video. All right.